Good morning, everybody. Guess what today is? It's Hump Day. Play my video. Run my video, BC. I know you. There we go.
What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
No, it's Hump Day.
Woo-hoo!
What, 3 months in a row now?
Yeah, but it's Hump Day. I feel like Hump Day is the middle of the work week. I mean, for us, we're on Monday through Thursday,
Right.
but for most people, it's their middle of the week. I think you could still consider this the middle of our week, even though, whatever the case may be. I feel like it just sets things into motion. It just, uplifts you middle of the week. It's been a long week. It seems like the days are dragging. It's just, I like it. And look, I also like, guys, we have a new set. How do you guys feel about the new set? We have a table.
Yeah.
We look like
new lights. We have 2 new lights.
We do. We have 2 new lights. It's a new setup. How are you guys feeling about it? Definitely in the chat, let us know how you guys are digging it. I feel like we're kind of far from each other, no?
It's about the same distance. Look.
Is
it's
it?
actually closer because, look, I can touch you. Boop.
I feel like you could have. Okay, well, whatever the case may be, we have.
I'm missing something, though.
What?
You're coming in very chill, very zen. But I feel like you might take it up a notch today. I need my sage just in case. I might have to sage her.
I actually sprayed myself with my aura protection spray and meditated and just said my affirmations and my mantra, and I'm good to go.
Let me ask you.
Right here in my bubble, we are cleansed. We are positive.
Did you do that because of our conversation last night, 1 a.m?
No, I just. Well, in part, yes. But also, like, I don't know if, like, you get these, like, moments in your life, but, like, for me, I don't know. Some days the energy just overall just I feel it more.
Yeah.
Like, it feels heavier.
Is it a full moon
like
coming?
Today is a full moon. It's a blue moon. It's a blue moon. It's not really blue. It's just super bright. The last blue moon until 2037. So if you guys have a chance to go and check it out, just lay outside in your backyard or wherever outside and check it out. It's gonna be the last one until 2037.
Well, listen, I knew nothing about moons. I'm not into that. I'm not into signs. Nothing. I moved on this little island not too long ago, and one night I was walking on a beach, and it was a full moon. And I started looking into it, and it was extremely powerful when you were talking about energy. That's why I asked. But I still don't know anything. The last couple of nights I've been sleeping here in the studio in the facility, but I'm gonna go home tonight because if you're saying it's a blue moon and it's the last one until
2037,
this is going to be amazing. I feel like I'm in the perfect spot in South Florida to see the moon. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So if you have a chance to check it out, check it out. Obviously, we are sending our love and prayers to everybody on the west coast of Florida and in the Panhandle, Georgia, as there is a hurricane currently going on. So I hope everybody, their family, their pets, their homes are safe. And we have a really dope show today. We are interviewing Caleb Plant. He's going to come and join us. And I feel like all of our fighting fans are going to enjoy that. We'll be able to dive into some of the stuff you were talking about that you witnessed and that you spoke about your time in Vegas. And there's a lot of... He
slapped my dog. Just say it. He slapped my dog. And this is going to be interesting. I don't know how the Charlo brothers are going to feel about this, right? Because I got a job to do. I'm media, so like we sat down with them. They're I don't know what's going on with my mic. They're my people. And now we got Caleb. So it's almost like, look, Caleb's a nice guy.
He is. I've interviewed him a few times.
But is it like, am I sitting down with the ops?
No.
I'm not. Am I good?
It's not your fight. Stay out of it. We got enough. We have enough problems. We also are going to be diving into a lot of NFL news. Heavy NFL show today. Obviously, yesterday was cut day. Some breaking news. Some guys, big name guys, aren't going to be playing or available for the start of the season. Some other news in terms of cuts and team captains. And the most breaking news that I think came out of yesterday that we're going to dive into right now is Jonathan Taylor is to remain with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts did not find what they felt was a, quote, fair value offer for Jonathan Taylor, and they are not trading their all-pro running back today, meaning yesterday, sources told ESPN. Now, the unfortunate part about this whole situation is that with no trade happening for Jonathan Taylor, he is now expected to remain on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list, making him ineligible for the first 4 games of the Colts season. So that is going to be the game against the Jaguars, Houston, Baltimore, and the Rams. Brandon, I know you have opinions. So
yeah, player versus owner, Taylor versus Irsay. The owner always wins. The owner always wins because we take it too personal. Now, this fight isn't over because Jonathan Taylor still isn't there. He won't be contributing, right? And we don't know where his mindset is. We haven't heard from him, right? But this just shows that, like, as players, we have to do a better job of understanding how to approach the business side.
Right.
You know, Saquon Barkley, he's going back and forth with the Giants for a year.
Right.
And nothing gets done. If Saquon Barkley maybe got a little messy, if Saquon Barkley may have said some stuff publicly sooner, not a month before the deadline to get a deal done, what could have happened, right? Jonathan Taylor, the same thing. And I say that because sometimes I feel, Ashley, in this setting, like, they use the business around football to gain the leverage and the momentum at the table, right? The owners do.
Right.
Because they know it's about being professional. You got to say the right things. So they can play hardball. They can say, we're not doing anything. We're not trading you. We're not paying you. And they just sit back on some savage stuff. And the player got to sit there and got to navigate through it.
Right.
What if the player just says, you know what? F you, F this organization. You know, I'm out of here, right? Like, it's either that or you pay me. What could happen? But we're afraid to, get there. We're afraid to go there. Now, sometimes I think you need to go there. The last thing I would say is they never intended on trading Jonathan Taylor. This was all semantics. This was an opportunity not only for Irsay, because I think that all of the owners are part of this, understanding the market. It was like, yeah, go out there. Go see the market. Go see the market. They control the market. But nobody's going to get more money. Like, you saw a guy go out there, Josh Jacobs. He had the same type of fight. Josh Jacobs get a deal that could be worth up to $12 million, right? They're not even getting close to the Alvin Kamaras. They're not even getting close to the Christian McCaffreys. They're not even getting close to King Henry, right? Like, this market is upside down. And even if he was to get traded, what was the Miami Dolphins going to do? You think was Stephen Ross and Coach McDaniels and the general manager over there, Mr. Greer, going to go out there and say, oh, we're going to be the team to pay him $14, $15 million on a long-term deal? Hell no. Hell no. So he still was going to be in a lose-lose situation.
Right. I guess my question is that I understand the concept of the owners always winning, and I understand the concept of we're never going to go ahead and trade Jonathan Taylor. Do I agree with that? That's more than likely the probability of what the situation was, right? My pushback on that, and it almost like lies within the saying, don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Right.
You went ahead and allowed your player to entertain up the possibility of a trade, knowing in the back of your mind that you probably weren't going to trade him regardless, but you basically said, you called his bluff and said, go ahead, test the market if you want to. And now you're out your star running back for 4 games. So you screwed yourself in the process.
Right. Well, no, they didn't.
What do you mean they didn't?
No, they didn't. Think about it. You saw this yesterday. And this may be, I don't know if this is the first time the league has ever seen this. They have no one on their roster older than 30.
Okay.
No one. They just drafted a young quarterback.
Right.
He has the ball. He's the one that's going to lead this franchise to, back to prominence. What does that tell you? That they're not going out there trying to win a championship right now. So with Jonathan Taylor or not, they're still going to be on track to accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Don't you still want to win games?
You want to? I think they want to develop.
Right.
And I don't.
You
Yes, you want to
wanna-
win games. I don't think they're in a situation to tank. I think this is a team that could potentially come out and then be like, damn, we are better than what we thought. But the way they're set up and the way they're doing business right now, Ashley tells me that they're all about developing. They're looking at this as they probably have a 2 to 3 year plan with this young quarterback, with this nucleus around them, and all this youth. We're going to be in position to be a really good team in 2 3 years. Similar like basketball, right? More parity in the NBA right now. So the Sacramento Kings, like the teams that built it from within or built it from the draft, right? They're not going out there saying we got to put together these big three. They're not going out there saying we got to have all these superstars. And that's what I see the Indianapolis Colts doing.
No, I mean, I definitely hear you. I just think that regardless, the NFL, you win games. You go out there to compete. You go out there to win. Now, if you go out there to win a Super Bowl, it's different depending on where your organization is at that moment in time. But I just feel like this was kind of an idiotic chess move to make, if you will, because you went ahead and allowed your running back to test the market, knowing there was going to be no market, knowing that no trade was going to go ahead and spike your interest enough to actually move him. You were going to want a bunch for him, rightfully so. You weren't going to get that. You weren't going to agree to terms, and you were going to end up in this situation. But I just feel like now you're without him for 4 games. It just seemed like, what was the reason?
Yeah.
At least what was the reason this close to the deadline? Had they done this earlier in the offseason, okay, maybe whatever, there's no skin off your back at the end of the day because the start of the season is so far in the future. But you did this with like 3 weeks to go before the season. It seems idiotic that you just kind of.
But it's not, though. Remember what I said about business earlier. So there's success now, and then there's sustained success. So whether it's the team going out there winning, it's the NFL, it's the business around it. These players, the average career of a player is 3 years. I think that's what they're still saying, right? What's the average career of an owner? How long are they owning these teams, or their families owning teams? The McCaskies, how long have their father damn near started the NFL, okay? George Halas. And then you have the Rooneys. How long have they been owners? Right? And you go on and on and on from team to team. So they have to look at this from, the here and now to also what does the NFL, what does their team look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
The next CBA, 10 years from now. I sat in on a case study where they're talking about the NFL media's plan. They said, we're on a 10-year plan. Why did we do this deal with Amazon? Why did we do this deal with Twitter? Because this is where we see the media space going. It's going from a traditional CBS, ESPN model to more going online, right? And so I'm saying that, and I'm on a little bit of rant because, I'm passionate about business.
That's
Ashley Nicole
fine.
Moss,
That's
Brandon
totally
Marshall
fine.
here
I am trying to fix my
Faction Talk,
iPad anyway.
Channel
Go ahead.
103, Sirius XM. But they're thinking about the market and the business. And this was the perfect setup for the Indianapolis Colts, because the Indianapolis Colts, every move they're making, they're like, we're not going to go out there and beat the Cincinnati Bengals this year. We can afford a year to make sure that we double down on the market. We're not going to let these running backs think that they can make $14, $15 million a year. And here's the thing, and I think we both agree on this, Ashley. We both agree that there needs to be change in evolution at the running back position.
Yes.
If you're not an Alvin Kamara or a Christian McCaffrey, and I know you're a running back expert, and you can speak to this probably better than I can, but if you're not them, you're not going to get paid. So all these old school running backs that is trying to tote the ball on first and second, third down, they can't run routes, they can't catch the ball at the backfield, they can't split out and run a go route or a sluggo like we seen, our guy down in Atlanta do in camp. If you can't do that, then you're better off just changing your position, right? So we agree that the owners aren't necessarily wrong,
right?
But man, when you have a guy that makes up 40% of your offense, and I know we're going to talk about Saquon Barkley later,
right?
And being named the captain,
right?
But if you got that type of guy, like, come on, you got to show love, you got to pay those guys, you got to take care of them because they take care of you.
I agree. Listen, it's definitely going to be an interesting conversation to, dive into throughout those first 4 games, how much it actually affects them, if it affects them, and if it was a wise decision on the Colts' part to even entertain or allow Jonathan Taylor to entertain a trade, knowing that wasn't going to be something they were even willing to adhere to if that actually manifested into reality. So
I need to match your energy right now. Like, I feel like I'm at a 10 and you're at like a 10, but very smooth.
Really?
Yeah, like this.
I told you I sprayed. I'm excited for the. I told you my aura protection spray. It has me very mellow. I'm also trying to, while hosting, fix my iPad that froze, which is not fun. Andrew, can you come try to fix this for me? I don't know. Shout out to Andrew. I don't know how to fix this. It's like one side's black. Just if we can reset that, that's great. I'm trying to do it at the same time. But do we have Caleb or do we have time for another story? Are we good? Not yet? Okay, cool. So let's dive into another story. Damar Hamlin.
Yep.
News came out yesterday that he officially is a Buffalo Bill for the new season as he made the 53-man roster.
That's right.
What an incredible comeback story. Bills Mafia celebrated the moment. We put out an incredible tweet regarding that news. But, I mean, this is an incredible comeback story. I mean, you talk about it all the time. You know, he was, for all intensive purposes, dead on the field.
That's right.
In a very scary moment for, the NFL. But, I mean, him making the 53-man roster, how does that make you feel? What was your reaction to the news, rather?
Sometimes there's a player or there's a moment that just brings people together and it pushes things forward. This is probably the greatest comeback that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, it wasn't that he almost died. No, he died.
Yeah.
They had to revive him. They had to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
He was gone. So this is probably the greatest comeback story we've ever heard. But also when I think about the moments after and everything surrounding him, I think about how the media start looking at players differently.
Right.
You had Skip Bayless during this time. I think he was tweeting saying, what are they going to do? They need to play the game, et cetera, et cetera. And for the first time, I felt like the majority was on that player side as far as like humanization. Mm-hmm. Because we still have a problem in sports where people are like, you're just gladiators, mm-hmm. or we're just going to enjoy what you do for us. You guys are just entertainers, and we don't even think about who Damar Hamlin or a Dak Prescott is off the field. So I think about that moment, Ashley, and how everyone kind of rallied around him and rallied around athletes and how we should do things differently. And there's been changes made.
Yeah.
And so this is big. And come on, Ashley, how could they cut him? If they did that, the kind of pushback they would have gotten. He's like he literally went from I don't want to call him like a special teams player because he was starting. He was starting because the starter went down.
Right, of course.
So he wasn't the guy.
Right.
Okay. Now, is he a talent? 100%.
Right.
But he literally went from being just one of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna call him iconic, but it's almost like definitely.
He's one of the faces of the Bills. I would say.
Face of the Bills, one of the faces of the NFL.
For sure.
Commercials, big businesses, brand deals.
Right, yeah. I mean, listen, I don't want people to go ahead and try to equate the fact that, he made the 53-man roster because how could they cut him? It's obviously earned. I don't think the NFL, cares too much about the sentimental value of things. If he didn't go ahead and compete, if he didn't go ahead and earn a roster spot, he wouldn't be on the roster. So I think that it just adds to an incredible story of Damar Hamlin, and I'm excited to see his comeback season. But the time has come for our special guest.
Is he here?
He is here. He is ready to go.
You sure?
He is. I got the word. That Caleb Plant is in the building.
Yes, sir.
And he is ready to go ahead and join us. First of all, absolutely phenomenal staircase.
Yeah, right. That. Look at this. Look at the can't have money.
I like that. I literally, my eyes went straight to the staircase.
Right.
Hi, Caleb. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going well. Brandon, how are you feeling?
This is awesome. Caleb, big fan of yours, not just, you as a fighter, and there's so many great fighters. but just how you approach things. You know, I know obviously, and we'll hit it. You know, there was a moment not too long ago that we'll talk about, but you know, you're a man's man, bro. I love your style. You know, I love how you approach your family. I love everything that you've overcome. You know, whether in the ring, you know, the adversity that you face, you know, outside of the ring, you know, like you're one of those. You're a pro's pro. You know, and so I just want to say thank you for joining the show. We're excited to jump in this conversation. It's long overdue. You know, we were trying to work it out to where we get you on the big pod where we sit around and have a drink or two. But we're here with Ashley Nicole Moss on Paper Route. And so let's dive in, man. Well, first, before we do that, where are you living? This seems like some LA stuff.
Well, first off, you know, I appreciate the kind words. It means a lot. And, you know, thank you for having me on. But yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. I've been here since like 2016, and you know, hard work pays off. So,
you know what though, a lot of people are like leaving LA and moving to Vegas. The real estate market is booming in Vegas. It's like one of the most up and coming real estate markets in the country. So he's ahead of the curve.
There you go. I think no state taxes either.
Yeah, no state tax. Nice.
So, bro, state of boxing. Before I know, Ashley. You want to lead?
No, go ahead. Okay. You're the fight fanatic here. You go ahead.
State of boxing, bro. Where's the state of boxing right now?
Man, right now I feel like it's in a great spot. 2023, I think it's been, you know, one of the best years in a long time. And, you know, you've seen a lot of big fights happen, a lot of champions facing champions, and it's in a good spot. But boxing's always been in a good spot. But I think what some people fail to realize is, you know, one generation will move out and retire, and then the next one will move in, and they have to build those fighters. They have to build, you know, their careers. They have to become champions. And if they fight too early in their career, you know, things may not pan out. So boxing and the fans have to give boxing a chance to build and develop those fighters so that down the road, you know, you can have a year like we're having now where you're seeing a lot of great fighters facing a lot of other great fighters.
Right. 24 fights, 22 wins, 13 by KO, and 2 losses. You know, I want to lean into the losses because I think that, you know, this is where we're at in boxing, where people are starting to understand, you know, that the protecting your O, you know, may not be good business. Like you said, you know, you have champions fighting champions, the best fighting the best. When you took those 2 losses, how did you recover from that, right? Because I feel like as boxers, Ashley, you know, like this dude is a legend. Look at, I mean, like for real. And so when you lose, just like Earl Spence just lost, it's like, damn, the world's watching. They're like, oh, he's done. He's washed, right? So like, how did you respond to those 2 losses? You know, did you face any adversity, you know, after those fights?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you take a loss, you know, that's adversity, right? Because the goal was to go out and win. You're preparing to win. You put the preparation in to win. You sacrifice and dedicate to win. So when you don't and things don't go your way, you know, that's adversity. But I think, you know, in today's age with social media, you know, you're able to see a lot of people's opinions. But you just got to make sure that those opinions, you know, other people's opinion of yourself don't mean more than the opinion you have of yourself. And, you know, nobody's opinion of me could be more important than the one I have of myself. So just knowing who I am, I got a good team around me, you know, my wife, my coaches, my friends, and just getting right back in the gym and getting right back to work. You know, I lost to Canelo, and I had to take just a little bit of time off to heal a little injury that I had gotten training. And I came back. I fought former 2-time world champion Anthony Durrell. I told him I didn't want a tune-up fight. I wanted to go right into the biggest fight that I possibly could, coming off of a loss. And maybe that's not the biggest fight out there, but give me the biggest fight that we can get. And, you know, they came back with Anthony Durrell. I said, you know, let's do it. And, you know, everybody, they seen how that went, and stepped right to David Benavidez. Obviously, you know, losing there, just getting right back in the gym and, you know, trying to smooth some edges in my game, get better at some things, and looking like I'll be back in the ring by the end of the year.
Well, you mentioned Canelo. You also mentioned David as well. I mean, you went toe-to-toe with both of them, came up short, unfortunately, in both times. I mean, one, who was the tougher fighter, and why do you think you came up short in both of those fights? What do you think went wrong?
Well, with the Canelo fight, at that point, I think one thing was his activity level. Fighting every probably like 4 months or so leading up to the fight that we had, and I had been out for 11 months. And obviously not using that excuse, but activity level definitely plays its part, and getting in the ring and being able to do your thing at the highest level. And so I think activity level. I think Canelo's experience level. At the time, he having like 20 fights. And, it's never just one thing. It's, an accumulation of smaller things. But I think the experience level and just then activity level, probably the two biggest. And with David, he's a big guy. He's really like a 175-pounder who is killing himself to make, 168 pounds. So that was a close fight too. So just, continuing to smooth a couple of the edges in my game and, trying to round things out. And as far as who's the tougher fighter, I think, it's like apples and oranges, like styles make fights. Canelo's got the experience. I think he punches harder than David, but David's bigger. He puts more combinations together. So, I mean, they both have their flaws. They both got, things that they're really good at.
So, bro, what did you see what opportunity did you see in the Canelo fight, right? I go and put myself back into the football world in the film room watching Darrelle Revis. And I'm like, damn, like every time he has this foot up, this is what he does. He does this fake little jab, but then he gets back into his bail coverage. Or, man, I ran this over route and, Chad Ochocinco ran this over route and he overplayed it. So now that's a counter or a combination where, now I'm going to my offensive coordinator or my quarterback saying, look, he's going to pick that ball off, but if we run that over route and I stop and bring it back out, there's nothing out there, right? Now, obviously, it doesn't always go as planned, but you see the opportunities against your opponent. Canelo Alvarez, obviously one of the best fighters in today's game, but probably going down as one of the greatest ever. When you stepped into that fight, right, what opportunity did you see? Like, where was the weakness?
I think Canelo's style has changed over the years. And so the way that he fights now isn't the way that he's always fought. But I don't really want to get too into that because,
what you gonna see him again?
I'm pretty close to having a rematch.
Ooh.
And, it's never good to correct your enemy's mistakes.
I know, that's right.
So I'm gonna let him keep
Listen,
doing what I'm saying, and I'm sure we'll meet up here soon.
Ooh, soon.
I like it. That's spicy.
You hear him?
I like it. It's spicy. And listen, earlier in this conversation, we brought up social media and how that's changed boxing.
Yeah.
And speaking of spice, we have to talk about, we would be remiss to not mention it. You've been in the headlines the last couple of weeks for what transpired backstage at the Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. Brandon was there, not there when it happened, but there in the premises. And you have garnered a lot of respect from people who may or may not have been a fan, may not have been familiar, for not just how you handled yourself, but what transpired when you went ahead and gave the backstory on how it ended up, being the video that we saw. So, I mean, just the biggest question, why did Jamal Charlo, touch your beard not once, but twice? Let's get into that.
I mean, I can't make sense of it. That's something you'd have to ask him, really. But it's like, we were at the weigh-ins and we were behind the stage with all the teams, the fighters who were about to weigh in, the coaches and, their team, stuff like that. Just me and my wife, Jordan, she works in boxing too, so we're behind there just catching up with people, saying what's up. And, Charlo, he comes up to me and he's like, man, what's up, bro? Why don't you fuck with me? Why don't you fuck with me? I'm like, I didn't really understand what he was saying. And he was like, yeah, why don't you fuck with me? I'm like, man, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold. Like, I really don't know how to take you. One time you'll tell me, you'll literally come up and be like, bro, I love you. And the next time I see you, you'll be on an interview talking about how you'll beat the shit out of me and send me back to Tennessee. And it's like, you know, hot and cold. I just stay clear of people like that. And he's like, no, man, I fuck with you. And I'm like, all right. He's like, do you want to fight? I was like, yeah, of course I want to fight. You know, that's going to be a big fight. We need to make it happen. He's like, because I don't even want to fight. I'm like, all right, that's cool. You know, I know you got things going on. Like, handle your personal life and get that together. We can make a fight happen. And he's going from like a hot sentence to a cold sentence, hot sentence to a cold sentence. And then he's like, a couple sentences later, he's like, do you want to fight? I'm like, yeah, I want to fight. He's like, because I'll fight you. I'm like, you're not making sense. You know, just a second ago you said you don't. He said, it won't even be a good fight though. I'm like, why not? He's like, because I'll beat the shit out of you. I'm like, see what I'm saying, bro? This is what I'm saying. 1 second you're hot, 1 second you're cold. I don't get it. And then he reached over and he pulled the chin on my hair, my hair on my chin, kind of hard. Like, boom. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is your problem? No, don't ever touch me. Don't ever touch me in my face again. Like, what are you doing? And then, you know, he wants to start calling me a bitch-ass white boy. Oh, look at the bitch-ass white boy acting just like a bitch. Look at him, y'all getting scared, getting shook, just like a white boy would, blah, 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 blah. And then he pulls the chin on my hair again, but even harder. So, I mean, you know, I'm standing in a room full of my peers, like I said. I got my wife standing behind me. Well, what do? You know, you're really making it hard on somebody when you're really putting their back up against the wall when you keep pressing them like that. And you're looking for a fight. You know, if you grab the hair on somebody's chin, you're looking to fight them. And if somebody has the decency to tell you not to do it again and you do it again, you're looking to fight. So that's what happened.
So this is a tough sit down with me because I am very close with the Charlo brothers, but I definitely understand they spicy. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, you can be cool and you can keep being cool, but we ain't talking right now. We're talking about right and wrong.
Right, right.
And what ain't right is to be touching another man in his face, pulling on his shit. And if he tells you to quit, then that's exactly what that means.
100%. Listen, I agree with you there. But have you guys spoken? Have you guys worked this out? No, any apology, anything?
Like apology from who? Like him?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Because
we haven't talked. You know, I have no reason to conversate with him or talk with him. Like he did what he did. I done what I done.
Now, I talked to somebody. I was there, and I talked to someone close to, you know, this situation. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, man, you know, they didn't say there was a fight. They said you guys were working on a fight. Earlier in the show, you talked about, you know, later this year, you were going to probably be back out there in action. So is this fight happening or not?
Mean, that's what I'd like. You know, that's what I would like.
Where do talks currently stand? Are there any talks of getting it happening in the fall, or it just kind of has hit a standstill in communication?
I mean, I've let my management know what I want, you know, and that's what I want. I'm saying it here live. That's what I want. And so, but, you know, you can't force anybody to get in there and fight. Right. And, you know, he's got whatever he's got going on. So, you know, but I'm free at the end of the year. That's what I want to do. And so, but, you know, it takes two to tango. So.
Right. And speaking of two, I mean, do you see yourself beating both of the Charlo brothers? For people who don't know, there are two of them.
I just said I'm close to him now.
There's two.
Caleb?
I'm not, you know, Jamel, he's a 154 pounder. And Jamal, you know, he's a 160 pounder who's about to move up to 168 pounds. And so I'm interested in fighting super middleweights because that's the division I'm in.
This is.
You know what? I don't need to go out there. The super middleweight division is plenty hot. You know, there's no need for me to go down and fight someone who's two divisions below me when I have, you know, tons of super middleweights that I could get it going with.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question, bro. You said this is the fight you want? You went to management and said, you know, pretty much make it happen. That's what it sounds like. Because of the situation that we just saw, the video and what everybody's been talking about, is this personal or is it business, right? Because like I heard you talk, man, you was like, man, like what am I supposed to do? And you know, I'm not gonna go back home and look myself in the mirror and, you know, after a dude then, you know, violated me that way. And there's Texas dudes. You said there's like, I don't care if there's 40, 50 Texas dudes back there. If they all had to see me, then that's what it's gonna be. Excuse me.
You know, I'm not picking a fight with none of them dudes, but it's like I know Errol's there, I know Jamel and Jamal there, and then all their buddies are there. And so, you know, I don't know who's going to take Jamal's side and who ain't, but you have to obviously tell yourself, well, hey, if I'm going to do this, worst case scenario is all 40 to 50 of these dudes jump on me, but, you know, sometimes you got to be willing to do that. You know, I'm not going to go home, like I said, and look myself in the mirror or look at my wife and be like, hey, I'm the protector of this family. I'm going to stand up for you, but I won't stand up for myself. And, you know, my wife would still believe that, but am I going to believe it? That's the real question.
Right.
So, you know, you go through life, you let people just do that to you, you're going to have problems in your life. If you stand up for yourself, that could create problems too. So at the end of the day, it's just, what problems do you want? Do you want the problem of somebody fucking with you, or do you want the problems that come with standing up for yourself? And, you know, I know what I choose, so.
It's actually interesting that you mentioned your wife. I have a question regarding her in just a second, but when the situation first happened, one of the things that I said was, you know, had your wife not been there, maybe the situation goes differently, but your wife being there kind of gave you no other choice but to react and deal with the situation that you did.
Whether she was there or not, I would have handled my business the same way.
Okay.
But you're making it even harder on
right.
me. She is standing there, is what I'm saying. But I would have handled my business the same way. If it was just me solo, if it was me and her, if it was me and my daddy, like, I'm gonna handle my business the same way. But if my wife's standing behind me now, it's even like,
right.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, and that's the part that I brought up when we had that conversation.
You definitely did, bro. I never forget my freshman year in college. I went back to my high school's rivalry game. It was Lake Howell High School versus Oviedo, and so I come back and I'm feeling good and cocky, confident, and I'm the big man, right? And so I'm walking out, and it's with my buddy who's at the University of Florida, big defensive lineman, 6'2", 320 pounds. And there's about 5-6 dudes just trying us, but we're outnumbered. And they just trying us. We finally get to the car, to the situation, and something just clicked in me. I'm like, this ain't sitting with me. And so I'm like, y'all, okay, y'all got it. Ashley, soon as one of them got in the car, I said, BAM! And now 6 dudes swarmed us. And we just tussling with these dudes. But I'm saying that because I understand what you're saying, bro. It's like, and that's a scary place to be when you're like, yo, I feel disrespected, I feel violated, but I'm outnumbered, and this can go all the way left. There has to be something kind of off, you know what I mean, for you to make that decision to say, there's 40 to 50 dudes from Texas that could all jump on me, but I'm doing this. Like, when did you know you was that? Like, when, like, there's, I guess that's the fighter. When did you know you were him? You know what I'm saying? Was it like in elementary school, middle school, where somebody tried you had to stand up for yourself?
I mean, you know, we all have a line that we don't let people cross when it comes to certain things, you know, and your line may be further up on some things. My line may be further back on some things and closer up on some things. And, you know, we set those lines as we go through life, you know, as people, you know, pick on us or mess with us in school, middle school, elementary school, you know, you start finding out where your line is. And as you grow up, that's where you set your line. And if somebody crosses it, you know, if somebody does this or takes it this far, you know, I'm willing to, you know, back myself up. And, you know, everybody's line is in a different place. And so the best way to not find it is to not be pressing somebody's line.
Ashley, what would you have done in that situation?
Like, if I had to, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, if I was Caleb?
Yes.
I mean, hopefully, you know, if a girl did it to me, right?
Yes.
I'd probably. Oh, okay. I was about to say, if it was a guy, I'm not doing that. I'd fight. I have a line too.
You have a line too?
I'd have to. I would take that because it's like I feel him. Like you kind of give someone the benefit of the doubt when you say, "All right, chill."
Right.
And then somebody does the same action, now they're calling your bluff. Now you have no choice but to do it. So.
Do you know like the switch that you have to be able to make the decision he made? And both, like, bro, I talked about Caleb, but Charlo, he's a monster too, so that's why I want to see this fight. This could be a makeup of a huge fight, a mega fight. The whole culture's coming out. You're a part of the culture. Fashion, boxing, sneaker, all of that.
Yeah.
I want to see it happen. Ash, I got one boxing question before we switch gears.
No. I have a question too that actually they want us to hit. So you want me to go first? I'm gonna go first. Listen, clearly you don't duck a challenge. We've established that. But Anthony Durrell was talking very spicy about you before your bout, and that backfired in the worst possible way imaginable. I think we actually have that video that we can run. But I mean. Just
run that one time.
Just go. There we go. Listen, we have this video. I mean, have you ever landed a cleaner left hook in your life? I mean, run that back one more time, BC, just so we can get the full. I mean, my goodness.
It's the same left. It was the same left. It's something about his left. It was the same left.
I mean, just bam. Just absolutely. I mean.
Ooh. He was coming too now. He just landed the
first. Listen, and again, he was talking
honest,
very spicy before this one. So, I mean, just talk us through that. Was that like one of the best left hooks of your life?
Yeah, that was one of the cleanest ones. You know, every time I kept throwing my hook, you know, Durrell kept punching with me. He kept hooking with me. Every time I would throw a hook, boom, he would hook right with me. And so I knew that I had to, you see the little pause at the bottom after the first one. Boom, it's because after I threw the first one, I knew that he was about to hook with me. So I just sat on it for a second and wait for him to open up. Boom, and I knew when he'd open up, I was going to shoot the second one. Oof. So it was just kind of like taking some time to see his, you know, his habits. And I noticed in the fight, because he thought that I couldn't punch and that he could, he was going to try to keep punching with me. And so that I just kept setting it, kept letting him doing the same thing until I seen the opening. And then, boom, I made sure that I paused on it so that when I shot it, he'd be open. But, yeah, that's just good timing, good setup, you know, just playing chess.
See, that's what I love about sports. That's what I love about boxing. Caleb, I tell Ashley this all the time, bro, and I would love to hear, you know, what you think is the best sporting event. But I tell her, I said, there's nothing better than watching boxing live. I love everything about it. I love my process before I even leave the hotel. I love walking in, like dressing, you know, and I love the old school too. I love like suits and stuff, right? But nowadays, people are more into sportswear. So like, you know, for him to go in there and say, man, now it's chess. It's so special. It's special. You know, what sporting event, before we move on, do you think is the best thing, the best sport to see in person?
Boxing, no doubt.
He's not going to say anything other.
But it's like, well, I said boxing.
It's like when you really narrow it down to like the essence of competitiveness and mano a mano, I mean, there's probably no older sport in the world, you know? And just how the boxing has developed into a chess game. And, you know, boxing is not like a tough guy sport. And you don't want to be considered, you know, you don't want to think yourself as, oh, I'm going to be tougher than him, or I'm tough, so I'm going to be able to do this. Because if you're a fighter, then we're all tough, you know, so that's going to automatically X that out. You know, boxing is a thinking man's game. And, you know, just being able to set traps over rounds and get them accustomed to one thing and be able to switch it up on them and, you know, capitalize off a mistake they're making or a move that they're making and be a step ahead. I mean, I think it's just, and, you know, no, obviously offense to football. I'm a huge football fan too, but, you know, just not being able to call a timeout, not being able to hand the ball off, or,
you sound like Richard Sherman.
You know, but just, it's just you and them in there, and there's no timeouts.
Right.
I love it.
Well, listen, you are not the only badass athlete in the Plant household. Your wife, Jordan, was a track star. I wonder, what is having an athlete wife like? I mean, how does that help you become a better athlete?
I think, you know, anyone who knows about me and Jordan, you know, they know how close we are, how good of friends we are, you know.
That's beautiful.
But I think having an athlete as a wife, you know, she just has an understanding of the discipline and the sacrifice that it takes. You know, she had a full ride to a Division I college to run the 100-meter hurdles. And so that's no joke. And so for her to be able to compete at that level, and to have competed at that level. She knows what, it takes, the amount of discipline. And so just her having that understanding and just her helping me stay on the things I need to stay on top of, whether it's, my vitamins or my water, my meals, she really helps it and makes it to where I just really have to focus on boxing. And, I take that serious because, she trusts and believes in me. And so I don't want to put that to waste, so just it gives me motivation knowing that, I got a friend and a wife who really believes in it and who really sacrifices with me and puts a lot into it. And it just makes me want to go, that much harder.
I absolutely love that. That's so beautiful. That's great to hear. And before Brandon, you get your question, and I have one more for you. Now remember, before I ask this question, remember the saying, happy wife, happy life. Who is the best athlete in your household? Is it you or is it Jordan?
She's the better 100-meter hurdler.
Do y'all compete in anything else?
Oh man, we're super competitive. We've gotten into real live arguments before about like being an athlete or who's better at this, who's better at that. It's so funny to look back on and like think about that. But yeah, she's super competitive. I'm super competitive. But besides like that one argument that I just mentioned that was like so long ago, and we laugh about it now, like it's friendly competition, but we definitely compete with each other. And she works out 6 days a week. She's a grinder. She handles all our business stuff, when it comes to our rental properties, our investments, with our financial team. She's a great mom. She's a great wife. Altogether, I'm blessed to be able to have somebody like that in my life. I don't take that for granted.
It seems like fun though. Like you would like race to like see who could like empty the dishwasher faster, or like who could fold laundry quicker, or like who could bring the groceries with more bags without making a second trip. That seems like fun to me. I don't know. That seems
I'll
like
trip her ass.
Listen, you just gave speaking to athletes, man. I think you just gave them a major key. And I know Ashley asked you the question, but I feel like you can potentially teach other athletes, bro, the keys to success when it comes to dating and relationships, man, because there's so many of us, including myself, that struggle, we fail, or, we try to figure it out the next time. And so that alignment is critical, like athlete mindset. You're an athlete. She understands that. And I feel like a lot of us athletes struggle because the women that we may date don't understand the commitment and the sacrifice needed to just be good every single day. Because, like, if you're not that, like, if there's no, like, I'm not trying to say athletes is better than other people, but, like, you can be in corporate America, and in corporate America, you don't have to be great every day. And there's so many ways to skate around, like, what you do. In sports, that shit is on television, on the tube, on film review every single day. Your ass get knocked out, right? Everybody's watching, everybody see it. There's no hiding in practice or in games. And so it's a level of commitment and sacrifice you have to make, bro. So you just gave a major key to a lot of athletes. Don't go out there and do life with somebody who's not aligned with the sacrifice.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it takes a different level of selfishness that you have to be able to compete on that level. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're not, abusing that selfishness in other areas, it makes it a lot easier for your friend to be able to, be selfless when it comes time to grind, or comes time to have to go here and go there and, do this, do that, whatever it may be. Sometimes, if people abuse that selfishness, it could hinder you and make it harder for you to be selfish in other areas, and your partner be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be thinking from both sides, and you got to be thinking about the long term, going what you really want. And if it's about the sport, if it's about being great at your sport, and that's what you're preaching about, then you got to stick to it with that. You got to be selfish with that, but you got to know when to turn that on and off too.
As a woman, that's all facts.
How are we doing on time, bro? Because I don't know
all facts.
If our team said, how are we doing? Okay, yeah. Can you go a little deeper here? When you talk about selfishness to being selfish, right? Like, really speak to, the men out there, even the women, couples out there, because it seems like y'all, I don't think y'all are perfect, but it seems like y'all have a nice recipe. And there's a lot of people struggling, in marriages and then certain relationships, or they try love and they failed at love. So what does that look like? Because sometimes men, we're too selfish.
Yeah, I mean, I think men and women can be selfish, especially today's era. But I think, Jordan's the type of girl who she's cool to be friends with, and not every girl's like that. Every girl wants to be liked, but not every girl is likable. And so it's like, not just when it comes to our business and, doing things we got to get done, but just kicking it, hanging out, chilling, laughing, joking, like cutting up, whatever it may be. Like Jordan's into like a lot of the same shit I am, whether it be clothes, sneakers, fashion, sports. And, Jordan knows how to just sit around and kick it and just chill and be cool. And so it makes it easy to want to hang out with her, but not every girl may be like that. So it can make it harder. But, for Jordan, it lines up with the things I like. So it makes it easy. And because we're best friends, I'm not gonna, there may be certain things that you do to your girl that you wouldn't do to your best friend. But it's kind of one and the same for me. So it makes it easy for me. I got a lot of respect for Jordan because of how hard she works, how she carries herself. She's classy. She gets a lot done. She's a great mother. So, it makes it easy to respect someone like that. She's literally the hardest worker I've ever come across as far as like consistently. And so, it's easy to respect somebody like that.
That was a bar.
Yeah,
a lot of girls want to be liked, but a lot of girls aren't likable. Can we get that on a graphic? That was a bar.
I said, go deeper.
When he said that, I said, "Oh, that's a bar."
Caleb got some stuff about him, man.
Wow, that was a bar. I'm definitely gonna be using that for just obviously with men, but I'm gonna use that line.
Right.
I want to switch gears because you did mention fashion.
That's right.
And how Caleb has kind of broken down walls and barriers in the boxing space when it comes to his fashion, for sure. And you've worn some really dope kicks in the boxing ring. I mean, I have some of them here. Most notably, your the Dunks and Freddy Krueger's. I mean, come on.
Fire.
Look, fire.
I have those back there, I think.
You have these?
Yeah, but not the boxing ones, but the
I want to kind of dive into your sneakerhead love, and also, I mean, I believe the shoe surgeon does some of your shoes. Is that correct? Like, just kind of talk about that relationship. What goes into the design, the decision making on what shoes you wear for what match, and I mean, these are incredible.
Come on, man, bring up the Freddies. Yeah, there we go.
Ooh.
Dom, my guy, the surgeon. He's been helping me put together some great ideas, and really my love for sneakers just probably comes from, not having those things when I was a kid, not having nice shoes, not having nice clothes, not having much nice of anything, and just, wanting those things, wanting to work hard so I could get those things. And then just trying to bring those things into the boxing world, and just tie the two together. And, me fighting October 15th against Anthony Durrell, I knew it was close to Halloween. So I thought, what better shoe to bring out than, the greatest horror shoe of all time, one of the rarest shoes of all time. And so, I told him I want to do the Freddies. And he sent over a couple of examples, and I just kept making revisions until I had it, just how I wanted.
Fire.
And boom, I felt like it came out. They turned out great. And, ever since then, I've really been seeing, quite a few fighters, turn their boxing shoes to...
Were you the first? Are you saying you're the first?
Say what?
Are you saying you're the first because Tank, Devin Haney, there's a bunch... I heard where you were going with that. Were you the first to create this in the ring?
I will say that me and... I had already made these shoes, but then I think Devin came out with the cactus plant, the one with all that look like they got the diamonds all over it or whatever.
Right.
But he fought before me, but I was already in the process of getting that shoe made.
Right.
But I'm definitely up there. I'm one of them. I felt like it was I feel like it was my idea first, but Devin he came first, so he can. But then with the what the dunks, just trying to match that energy and that I had with the Freddies and do something just as crazy. And obviously Don put something together crazy. But yeah, I'm definitely one of the first ones for sure.
Top 5 dress fighters, man, because there's some nice ones now. Top 5 best dressed.
And you can include yourself in the list. We never make that rule, but you can go ahead and include yourself, obviously.
Yeah, and if you're really him, you'll do it in order too, because we sit down with football players, basketball players, and they like, well, I ain't gonna put it in order. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard to put it in order, but
oh Lord, see what I'm saying?
I feel like I'm definitely probably on the list, and Gervonta, I probably put him on there.
Charlo brothers. Don't be biased because
why
of the
do you keep doing that?
Don't be biased because of the current climate.
You are so messy.
Caleb know they be dressing now.
Oh my God.
They wear a little bit more extravagant things than me, and to me sometimes that can be hit or miss. I'm not speaking specifically about them, but sometimes
that's fair.
Pressing it, it can be hit or miss. But yeah, those stylish dudes. Tank's a stylish dude. Devin's a stylish dude.
Okay.
Caleb, before we let you go, obviously we've spoken about a lot of your previous fights.
But 1 second. Oh, none of them guys have their own clothing line.
Ooh.
They don't have their own. Like I have with my revenge store, where I've gotten away from creating boxing merchandise for boxing fans. And I have my own lifestyle brand called Revenge Store. And if you've been following me, if you've been staying up to date, you can see that I've been dropping some real fire lifestyle clothes.
What's the website?
It's on my website, but I only do 1 week pre-orders, and then I put them in, I ship them out, and then I do not re-release a shirt. Either you're on it or you're not. So it's either you're up to date with it or you're not. And but I've had Conway the Machine in my clothes, Nigel Sylvester in my clothes. Who else? The Game.
I love Nigel.
The Game in them. And my first shirt it's called Revenge Tour, and it had Revenge Tour on the back with the tour dates, and it was a date of each one of my fights and where they was at. And, I'm not gonna lie. Ever since then, I've been seeing quite a few tour shirts.
Right. He's the first.
I seen Errol smoking on Bud tour, but Errol's my guy. I seen Shakur Stevenson with the tour shirt. I seen my boy Scooter with the tour shirt. And I'm not, I don't want to be a gatekeeper, So if I bring something, if I'm pressing ideas forward, I want to see other people pick it up and push the boxing culture forward too. That's what I think it's all about. So. But I feel like I've been given some inspiration.
The website is dope. I'm on it now.
It's on the Caleb Plant website.
CalebPlant.com. You hit the 2 marks at the top right, and you'll see the store there. It's dope, bro. We got season 5 starting here in the next month or so. Our big show. This is the biggest show, but we got the big show. Man, I need it. You know what? I'm not gonna ask for nothing. I'm gonna buy it.
Listen, the store, guys, is in the chat right now, so the link is there. JP just dropped it in the chat, so if you guys want to go ahead and pre-order some stuff, it is in the chat right there.
But my next drop is gonna be September 30th, which is the day of the Canelo fight. But they also have the Low Rider Super Show with all them, all the old school low riders, and I'm gonna have my next collection won't be online. It'll be in person at that show. So you got to show up to get it. Otherwise, you're going to have to miss out on that.
Can you? I'll be in Vegas. Obviously, I'm going to that fight. You have Canelo and Charlo, and so I'll be there. Can you put aside a couple 2X's for me, and I'll give you my credit card, bro. I know Jordan's going to be like, nah, this is money. This is business. Don't nobody get nothing for free. Put two X's to the side for me, all right? And Ashley's going to be there. It's going to be her first fight. She's never been to a fight.
I've never been. I'm a fight virgin. Is that a thing?
You know what we need to do? Let's get a nice dinner together. Like Caleb and Jordan and his whole team is super cool.
Okay.
Let's do a big dinner. Let's get like a nice little group of people. Would you do that? Or you just keep it tight?
I mean, I'll be open to that.
Okay, all right, we're gonna hit up.
As long as we don't talk about certain things anymore. We're just gonna let that here. Listen.
I'm harmless.
Before
why would I do that? He
stop.
gonna slap me. I ain't trying to get.
Now that would be funny. But listen, before we let you go, obviously we've been talking about a lot of fights, but I mean, is there anybody on your dream list, a dream matchup for you, or multiple dream matchups of guys you haven't fought or that you would like to fight again? What are some of those names?
I mean, in a perfect world for me right now, if we can't get Charlo right away, we go to a tune-up fight, let him get a tune-up fight since he's had a little break. Me and him fight next year, beat him, and then after I whoop him, get a rematch with Canelo, become undisputed, and then run it back with David.
Oh, that's that revenge tour.
That's that revenge tour. See that? That's the plan.
I know we have to let you go. You've been more than gracious with your time, bro. But I have to ask really quick on two big situations right now. You got Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo fighting in Vegas. You just talked about that. That's when you're going to drop your next. You'll have your next drop for the revenge tour. How do you see this going?
I mean, Jermell. And just so I can clear the air, like, I don't have no issue with Jermell. Honestly, Jermell, he's always been super cool to me, super respectful. He always daps it up, tells me he loves what I got going with, whether it's with my wife, my clothes, my boxing. So it's like, I think Jermell's a cool dude. He's never been no type of way towards me. But, I think Jermell's a great fighter. I think he's a younger fighter. He could be the more lively fighter. And he's hungry. He's got something to prove. Obviously, he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's hard to bet against Canelo's experience and his size and his punching power. So, I think both guys have some things going for them. And it's really just about who gets in there and is able to implement their game plan. That's what it's about. It doesn't matter who is necessarily can edge out and be the better fighter. It's about who can go in there and implement their game plan over 12 rounds. And we're going to find out on the 30th. So.
I'm going to put $25K on Charlo. Seriously, like what bro said, like, and it's right, and that's not. Some would say that's not a smart bet, right? But younger, more active, hungry. I like this. And the last one, we're gonna let you go here after this, bro. The beef between, will we ever see Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson get in the ring? Like, it's starting to get spicy. They're on Twitter this week or last week, and it's starting to get real personal.
I mean. That's a question for them. We'd love to see it. I love to see it. I'm cool with Devin. I'm real cool with Shakur as well. I'm not picking sides in that fight, as far as but I think they're both great fighters. I think Shakur is a hell of a fighter. I think Devin's a hell of a fighter. So, I'd love to see them, two young guns get in there and duke it out.
Oof. All right. That was
dope. Thank you so much, Caleb. Tell Jordan we said hi. And we hope to see you soon, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go to dinner.
Oh, right, my first fight, exactly, yeah. September 30th. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we got to show Ashley a great time.
Should I bring a fur? Jackson. Do people wear furs to fights?
In the wintertime, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
but
sure.
Not September. No, not September.
Vegas is. It ain't that cold.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was trying to go all American gangster, but I'll save that for another time.
Bro, we appreciate you, man. We'll see you in Vegas, bro.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna see y'all then.
Bye.
All right. Peace. Man.
You are.
I'm messy.
You're messy. The M in Brandon Marshall doesn't stand for Marshall. It stands for messy. Brandon Messy Marshall.
The people. That's what the people want to know. The people want to know.
I hit it. We didn't have to keep circling back to it. I talks about it in depth. We got it.
Yo, he's a cool dude.
Very
I love
cool.
His demeanor. I love his tone. It's not tough for me, but I am friendly and really close to the Charlo brothers. But right is right, wrong is wrong, and I haven't talked to Maul about this. It's just like Maul just didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying? But which is off, because if you touch another person, you got to expect anything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months. I do believe, I think Maul needs a tune-up fight. I don't think he just jumps into this one. He's been inactive for almost 2 years. And so I would like to see a tune-up fight, and I would like to see him fight next year And I'm telling you, the culture's going to come out for that one.
Well, listen, we're going to dive into some more football talk. But first and foremost, I want to shout out the team for really helping prep those Caleb Plant questions. And, you know, JP, you guys all did a great job with lining up those videos so that Caleb had something to reflect on. I know he really enjoyed rewatching that left hook over and over again. So thank you guys so much for that. The whole team here at Paper Route, BC, Andrew, Jazz, all you guys. But we're going to dive into some...
Woo.
I said Andrew.
Oh, I don't know about Andrew.
Okay.
Yo, I went a whole year working with Andrew, calling him woo woo, who.
Oh my God.
His name is who, but I say woo. That's my dog.
Woo, who, Andrew.
That's right.
Listen.
Fact checker.
We're going to go ahead and dive into some more football talk. Word on the tweets. And Von Miller, he will miss the first 4 games of the Bills season. Buffalo is leaving Von Miller on the PUP list, physically unable to perform past yesterday's 4 p.m. deadline, which means he is ineligible, much like Jonathan Taylor, to be active for the first 4 games of the season. Brandon, I mean, this is a big deal for Buffalo.
It is a big deal for Buffalo not having Von Miller for the first 4 weeks, but I like this move, and I think it's a smart move. The Buffalo Bills, when you look at it, right, throw that back up there. So it's Houston. Who else is it? So it's Houston. What are the 4 teams, Ashley?
I'm going to go ahead and pull that schedule up right now.
Okay, so the first 4 teams, the reason why I like this is because Von Miller is on the other side of his prime, but he's still super active, and he's still going to dominate. He's going to give you 10, hell, maybe even 10 to 15 sacks in a year, but you don't want to rush him. You brought Von Miller in because you want to win a Super Bowl. So let this dude heal as much as he can before you throw him back out there in the fire, and let him come do his thing when you truly need it. Now, the division is tough, Ashley, right? Like, you got Aaron Rodgers in there right now.
Well, speaking...
go ahead.
No, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, listen, the first 4 games of the season, first game of the season, Monday Night Football, is Bills at Jets, followed by Bills at Commanders, followed by Jaguars at Bills. Next is Raiders at Bills, and Von Miller, with all things aligned, should be back for Dolphins at Bills. So how do you see
3-1.
Okay.
3-1. They lose to the Jets, but they win. They beat everyone else, and that's why I'm saying that, because this team, they're not a defensive team. You know, now Leslie Frazier's departure is going to hurt them. Leslie Frazier went out and got Vaughn because that was a big gap for them where they weren't getting pressure on the quarterback, but you brought in Vaughn to go win the Super Bowl. And so, yeah, I'm predicting that they drop that first one to the Jets, but they see them again in Buffalo. And it's hard to beat Buffalo in Buffalo. Even when Buffalo was trash, everybody had a tough time going in Buffalo.
It's very cold up there.
November, December, January, going in Buffalo. As soon as you fly in there, it's miserable.
In the weather form or in other reasons?
You fly in to go play in Buffalo, so it's December, it's cold. They suck. You really don't want to be there. You're overlooking Buffalo. This is when they were trash. Okay. And then so you land there, it's like, what do we all do? Let's go get something to eat. Where do you go get eat? We're in Buffalo. Let's go get some buffalo wings.
No,
Buffalo don't even have buffalo wings. They're not. You can't even find buffalo wings. Good buffalo wings in Buffalo.
I feel like they have nice restaurants in Buffalo. It's not like Poughkeepsie.
Have you been here?
No.
Okay, no, there's no restaurants.
I've never even been to New Jersey. So, I lie. I've been to New Jersey twice in my life. This is a true story. And my mom, if she's in the chat, can run this. I'll tell you this. This is a true story. I am a true New York girl. I've never been to Connecticut. I have never been to New Jersey. I think the only time I've ever been to New Jersey was when I was a little girl. The company my dad worked for had a warehouse out there, and I took the drive with him for him to visit the warehouse. I've never been to Hoboken. I've never been to East Rutherford. No, I have never. When I lived in New York, I never left the city or Long Island.
Who are you?
Never been to Albany. Yeah. Never been to Buffalo. Oh, never. Goodness. Yeah. So there's no nice restaurants in Buffalo?
No. Oh. There's no nice restaurants in Buffalo.
That's crazy. Buffalo's a major city.
You know what the Buffalo Bills players do for fun to entertain themselves if they're not importing? You know what they're doing? They're going to Josh Allen's house.
Oh, my God.
They're going to Josh Allen's house, and they get together and they hang out there, or maybe Diggs' house. I don't know. Like, that's what Von Miller Von Miller is known to have gatherings for the team. That's what they do. That's all you can do in Buffalo.
So you mean to tell me there's no Buffalo Wild Wings in Buffalo?
Can we Google?
I do not believe that.
Google. Well, I don't know. They may have that chain there. This was like 2015, 16, 17, even before. So maybe they got that because literally if we go to Tennessee, what do you think we're going to try to get? We're trying to get some barbecue. Correct.
Yeah.
We go to Atlanta, maybe even when we went to Atlanta looking for some soul food, we're trying to get the taste of the city a little bit. You go to Buffalo, you think you're going to get buffalo wings. No buffalo wings?
I don't believe that.
I forgot this little restaurant.
I don't believe they don't have buffalo wings in Buffalo. I don't believe you for a second.
I'm telling you, they're not good. They're not good.
Not good and not having them are two totally different things, Brandon.
I'm telling you, it's bad in Buffalo. But anyways, Von Miller not being there is not a big deal. I like this move.
Okay. Well, listen, you know who doesn't like a move? It's going to be the Peterson family because a move had to be made yesterday that's going to make Thanksgiving and the holidays a little bit awkward. Doug Peterson had to cut his son, tight end Josh Peterson, as part of the 53-man roster cuts yesterday. Now, if you guys remember, we dove into that conversation and the whole conversation of nepotism
Delved. Go. Sorry.
Delved.
Go. Keep going.
Okay. Into that whole conversation about nepotism and how he was given an opportunity to compete for a roster spot. And Brandon said on this very set that he would not cut his own son, especially if we're not talking about, somebody who's going to start. We're not talking first string, second string, third string. I'm keeping you as a fourth string, fifth stringer if I can. But apparently Doug Peterson was unable to do that and had to have the black garbage bag conversation with his son. So, Brandon, what do you make of this? Is this going to be awkward? I would be pissed. I'm not going to lie. I'm petty like that.
Doug Peterson, first off, he didn't help his dad out. Right? Like I saw a video on Twitter yesterday where his dad put him in prime position. The easiest position on the football field is the long snapper. The long snapper, you can be 50 years old still playing.
Oh my God.
There's people that's 15, 16, 20 years still long snapping. All you got to do is take the ball and just snap it back to the punter. Right? That's all you got to do. And it was one of the worst snaps I've ever seen. So it's like, yo, I put you in position because I could have easily sold them on that. Like your special teams, he's a long snapper. Because it's kind of hard sometimes to find a long snapper. He didn't do his part, so his dad had to cut him, which I think was wrong. Look, I said this, right? It is a sticky situation when you go out there and you keep somebody that's not good, especially if they're son. But I would have stood up in front of the team and then been like, look, I'm showing y'all what y'all supposed to do. So, yes, I know my son sucks. Yes, I know he snapped the ball over the punter's head and put us in a terrible position. I know that. But nepotism is something that everybody practices in America and in corporate world. And hell, even in the NFL. Andy Reid's son coaches with him. Bill Belichick's son coaches with him. Jerry Jones' son works with him. He runs the team, right? The McCaskies got their granddaughters and grandbabies all throughout the building, and hell, even in the league office. So why would he do this to his son? It makes no sense to me.
So you don't think it's problematic of keeping somebody who, if you saw the video of him not being able to do the basics, you don't think that the rest of the team saw that? You don't think that, I don't know, maybe keeping your son after a crappy performance during training camp and in the offseason may or may not make you unfavorable in the locker room?
You hear what I just said, though? I would have. You don't be listening to me.
I do listen to you.
I know I be saying too much sometimes.
I am listening to you. How do you think that you combat that in the locker room? Those guys are be judging the hell out of you.
I'm standing in front of the team. I'm in the team meeting, and I'm saying to them, guys, I am doing what everybody else does in the world, and I want you to do it too. When you get your opportunity to be a head coach or run the team or run a business, put your people in position. Okay. Now, obviously,
Brandon, you're speaking as a dad, but let's go back to before you had kids and you're in the NFL and you made the roster or whatever the case may be, and you're like, all right, we're gearing up for the season, and you know for a fact that a guy in that locker room with the last name same as your head coach was just stinking up the joint. You're sitting there, you're getting dressed, whatever the case may be. The coach walks in and he gives you that speech about nepotism and corporate America and everyone. You're looking at him like, I don't give a damn about corporate America. He sucks. Why is he here?
They're going to respect me more. They're going to respect me more because I'm always going to keep it real. It's like, this is how the world works. As long as your coach keep it real with you.
You know for a fact, Brandon, don't sit up here and lie. You'd be like, this man is bugging. I don't give a damn if he's your son. He sucks.
What you got to make sure you do is, and this is why he made it so hard on his dad, you can't put him in position that hurts the team. And he put him at the easiest position. And so right now, Doug Peterson's probably slapping the shit out of his son right now saying like, damn, I put you at long snapper, bro. Like, that's all you do. Actually, at practice, all they do is stand on the side and they just snap the ball. Halfway through practice, they put on sneakers, they go inside, like they drinking coffee, they're like they live in a totally different world. And so, you know, I don't know what he does. Maybe it's just practice squad. But let's keep an eye on this, Ashley, because that could potentially happen. He didn't make the 53, but maybe Doug is saying, because you blew it, you blew it, son. Now I'm gonna put you on practice squad. So now you know you're not gonna be in position to hurt the team.
Listen, I can get you in the door, but I can't go. You can, what is it? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, the nepotism is I led you to the opportunity. It's up to you to make the most out of it. And if you don't, sometimes you got to make the hard decisions. I'm a firm believer. You know what? Truthfully, maybe it's because of the parents that I have. I've actually had this conversation with my parents once, like, but not obviously in the football term, just like corporate America. And my dad said to me that he would hire me, he would let me through the door and he would give me a job, you know, whatever the case may be. But if I didn't perform, he would have absolutely no problem firing me.
That's right.
He would fire me and not even bat an eyelash. So maybe it's because I have the parents that I do who are like, yeah, if we were in a position to give you an opportunity at our company and whatever the case may be, but if you suck, you're getting fired just like anybody else. Maybe that's why I don't.
He's borderline. It's not that he sucks. He just blew it.
You said that he got the easiest job and he couldn't do it.
I know he snapped the ball over his head.
Well, listen, staying in the realm of roster cuts, an unfortunate roster cut happened down here in the 305. Chosen Anderson has been released was released by the Miami Dolphins yesterday. He signed to the Dolphins this past offseason. It was an exciting time because I do believe he's from here.
Yeah.
So it was a homecoming. You know, his family was excited. He was excited. This is unfortunate news. You know, Chosen, yes. I've actually had a chance to interview him when I was at SI. Such a nice guy, so soft-spoken and just very chill. Brandon, I know you've met him multiple times. I mean, what do you make of this roster cut?
Met him, that's my baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, like when, you know, I've been doing this athletic performance thing for a very long time. And so before we even got into this new facility and headquarters, we were in a warehouse with no AC, no bathrooms, nothing. And he was one of the guys. So my first year for the Jets, you know, we had another combine group in, and he was one of them, right? So I was training, getting ready to go play for the Jets. He was training, getting ready for the draft, okay? And, you know, he didn't get drafted, but we picked him up. The Jets end up picking him up as a free agent. And as soon as he walked on the field, I was like, yo, that's our 3. Because, like, what you say, that confidence, like you say he's quiet, he's so soft-spoken, but he's a dog, right? Like, he might be quiet, but he's a dog. Don't get it twisted. And he's slim in frame and tiny.
For sure.
Taller than you would expect. But, like, he plays so big, all right? Right. And so, like, you know, it sucks because this is a dude that I was excited to see paired with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know how they went left. But no, man, I hate this. He trains here in the offseason sometimes. You know, he bounces around a little, but man, I don't like this. He's one of those ones. Yeah. You know, like when you say, okay, who am I pouring into? He's been one of those ones for, you know, almost 10 years, with 2016, so whatever that is. He's been one of those guys that I pour into. You know, like he'll send me film in the season. Big bro, what do you see here? You know, I'll check in on him when he's going through it. The Jets flying up there, just sitting, having lunch with him. So I hate this for him because, you know, I know he wants it bad.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. But You know, I definitely think that he'll land on his feet. I think he's a talent. So I think that any
I don't know, Ashley.
Why do you say that?
I mean, he will land on his feet, but like Jets, then Carolina, then Arizona, then Miami.
Well, you have to also look at those situations. I mean, when he was with the Jets, that was during the Sam Darnold era. When I spoke to him, this was after Sam Darnold got traded to Carolina, and he even said that he didn't think that Sam Darnold got a fair chance in in New York with the Jets, and that ultimately trickled down to the rest of the team, specifically the offense. Carolina, I think that
Sam Darnold came back there.
Sam Darnold came back. It wasn't quite what it was hoped to have been. It wasn't quite, the ending or the tenure that I guess the Panthers and Sam Darnold thought. Again, trickled down to the rest of the offense. So it's unfortunate, but I don't know if I would put that on Chosen. I mean, I think his talent is
Yeah.
spoken
listen,
for.
we don't know the situation. It's sometimes it's talent, sometimes it's other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want him to bounce back.
Definitely. So we're going to talk about the Giants out in New Jersey.
What happened with them?
They named their captains for the 2023 season, and there are about 25 of them. There's Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Andrew Thomas, Darren Waller, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. I don't want to mess his name up. Bobby Orecki, I think I'm saying that right. Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney, and Graham Gano.
25?
I exaggerate. It's about 12.
But even 12, most teams have 3 to 4.
My point
maybe
exactly.
5.
Why do you guys need so many captains? Let's dive into that. But I think the most notable name on this infinity list of captains is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's named a captain after a very tumultuous offseason with the New Jersey Giants. And it's interesting that they went ahead and named him a captain after that saga came to an end. So what is your take on the Saquon Barkley situation, and why do the Giants need so many team captains?
Listen, what got Saquon Barkley in this position with the Giants around his deal and his future with the franchise is him being too nice, right?
Okay.
And him, trying to be the ultimate pro, or what they deem as the ultimate pro. And Saquon Barkley is probably making the same mistake right now. Mm-hmm. He's come out and said, my vision hasn't changed. I can't see myself in another uniform. I want to be a Giant forever. And I'm chopping up his statement, but it's something like that. Okay. And now I wouldn't even accept it, this patch. And this is the ultimate honor, for your teammates to say, you know what, you are our captain. But bro, we are going to be in the same position next year. The negotiation for next year started as soon as you signed the paper to come back. And you got that deal done. And so, Saquon Barkley, if I'm there, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm going to go out there and ball, but I'm making it uncomfortable for everybody. So now when it's time for us to talk about 2024 season, it's either y'all going to pay me what I deserve, or y'all bye. No tag, you're not tagging me, none of that. And I think it starts with situations like this, Ashley. Hey, hey, Saquon, yay, you're the captain. You know what I'm saying? We love you so much. We appreciate you so much that we want to give you this ultimate honor that a team can give you. Mm-hmm. The locker room can give you. We're not going to pay you, though. We still don't want to pay you, but we're going to give you this. I would have stood up in that room and said, guys, I appreciate that. I love you guys, but I can't accept it.
Well, that was my question to you, was would you have turned down being a team captain? And not just from the standpoint of what transpired with him and the organization the past few months leading up to the season, But I mean, is it really special being named a team captain when there's 50 of them?
Yeah, this is different.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like being one of the girls that a guy's dating. Is it really special if he has a roster of 20 girls in rotation? Like, are you really bragging that you're one of 20? Like, I just feel like being a captain, okay, 2 team captains is cool. 3 team captains is cool. They do that in baseball. There's like 3. We're talking double digits. This is insane. Why do you need so many captains?
I mean, this is interesting. I know Coach Daboll, and I like Coach Daboll. He's my offensive coordinator when I played for the Miami Dolphins. Shit, I talked to him 2 days ago, texted him maybe yesterday, and I'll ask him, his thought process around this. But this is a lot. But I do know, like, you got the offensive guy, you got the defensive guy, you got the special teams guy. You might have 2 offensive guys, 2 defensive guys, special teams. So, like, at the most you'll see is like
5?
6 to 7. No, I've seen that before. This is a lot. But back to Saquon, it's like, and your teammates vote for you here. And so, no, some people might say, well, so why are you giving them back? It's because you got to make a statement. And Ashley, anytime I get an opportunity to talk about the business around an athlete, I'm always going to lean in. Like, basically what I'm trying to say every time we have the discussion is sometimes being an asshole with the owners that have all the leverage is what's needed when you are a commodity, right? Because when you're not Saquon Barkley anymore or Josh Jacobs or King Henry, guess what they're going to do? They're going to ask you to take a pay cut, or they're probably going to cut you, right? So you got to get your money now. We just seen it with Jonathan Taylor. Hey, we're not going to pay you. This is what the market is. Take this tag. You now have all the risks, which in any business, in sport, this is a bad deal. Should be both sides have risk. Jonathan Taylor doesn't sign his deal. Now Jonathan Taylor stands up, say, I'm not coming. They say, we're not trading you. Then they say, okay, we are going to trade you. And then they put a deadline on it. Where's the deadline? You got till October to trade him. Come on.
It's definitely something that we're going to keep our eyes on for sure. And all eyes continue to be on my Dallas Cowboys. It's about that time of year. Cowboys for clicks. Because the Cowboys for a team that people can, it means that if you talk about the Cowboys, you are certain to get engagement. Because
y'all not like that.
We are America's team, baby. But anyway, Trey Lance spoke for the first time since the Dallas trade, and he had a few sound bites that kind of went viral. On joining the Dallas Cowboys, he said that he was, quote, all smiles. It has been reported that he's going to wear number 15. Now he did also say in that same press conference, if you will, on the opportunity learning from both Dak Prescott and Coach Mike McCarthy, he said it's, quote, a breath of fresh air, and did say that QB1 Dak Prescott gave him a very warm welcome, and he is excited to learn everything he can possibly learn from him, and said his eyes lit up when he found out he was being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. So Trey Lance is extremely happy to be in Jerry's world. And I think that, most players, except for Brandon Marshall, who said he would never play for the Cowboys, I think that most players would love the opportunity to play for a major franchise, one of the most profitable, well, actually the most profitable franchise in the NFL. If you can't get the top, at least the top 5, it just gives you a different level of exposure. Different resources, the facilities are better, the accommodations are better. Everything is a top tier, just organization, top of the line. And I mean, he's going into a situation where I think he feels optimistic about his future, wherever that may be, wherever it may take him. But I mean, what did you make on some of these sound bites from Trey Lance? You believe him? Are you buying him?
Yeah, I do. I think Trey's probably looked himself in the mirror and probably agreed with himself that, I'm not there yet. I need to continue to develop, and this has been reported and talked about, I should say, for the last few years. His experience at the college level and at the level that he was when he was in college, it wasn't the best. And then the same in the NFL. They move up in the draft. They give the Miami Dolphins 3 1s and maybe a bag full of some players. and they go up there to the 3 spot and they take him. A lot of pressure on the organization, a lot of pressure on Trey, and they weren't able to get it done for so many reasons. You know, Jimmy G continued to win when he was in there, when he was given the ball. Trey Lance, you know, he played okay. I think they played in Chicago in the tsunami, it felt like, so he really couldn't see much. And then the second game, he snapped his ankle, and that was it. And Brock Purdy came in, and Brock Purdy did what Brock Purdy did. And so now he's in a situation where it's almost like, but a different tone, different feeling, almost like Zach Wilson, right? Like Zach Wilson goes to the Big Apple. Yes, Ashley, I'm saying it's Big Apple. Stop. Okay?
We could agree to disagree with that. That's fine.
He goes to the Big Apple, and it just doesn't happen. A lot of pressure, and now they got Aaron Rodgers. And look at how he's developed and grown since Aaron Rodgers been in town. And so Dak, I know Dak has his own situation with the Cowboys and negotiations and feeling some type of way, probably because they didn't consult with him. They didn't tell him they were doing this. So there's probably a lot on his mind. But Dak is a stand-up guy. Dak Prescott is a guy that you can you can just sit back and just take notes on. How does he do what he do? Like, why does he answer questions the way he answers questions? Do I think Dak can open up more? Absolutely. Should he open up more? Yes. But when you talk about ultimate pro, Dak is definitely that. And so this would be a great example for Trey Lance. But, you know, I don't know how long it's going to last, Ashley, because next year, you know, I believe it's next year. You know, they have to figure out if they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Maybe they have 2 years with him. But that's $5-6 million they have to pay him. Yeah. You know, so. And then, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Well, listen, before we get into our final topic of the day, we have to circle back because I guess head coach Doug Peterson heard your advice, because the breaking news is the Jaguars are re-signing tight end Josh Peterson, the head coach of Doug Peterson, to what? The practice squad, everybody. So Doug,
nepotism. Yes.
So Thanksgiving, the holidays, the new year is saved. There won't be any awkwardness transpiring at the Peterson family dinner table. Doug Peterson came and saved the day for his son Josh, who is officially a practice squad member. So Brandon, I mean, do you want to
do the right thing? Come on, Ashley did the right thing. Now, what position is he going to play? Don't put his ass back out there at long snapper, because that's when there's going to be problems. And here's the other thing, Ashley, because we got into this conversations back and forth, and you're like, how could you do this? Would you lose the locker room? Well, if the team is winning, everything's good. What happens when you start getting the bickering and you start getting the toxicity is when you're losing. And I said this yesterday on the show. It's one of the most toxic environments you can be in. Is being a pro athlete in that locker room, because it's every single day is pressure. Everybody's trying to there's people trying to take your spot. There's coaches putting themselves in positions to become coordinators or head coaches. So who's really there to really win, right? It's a tough environment. So when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are built to win. I like what they have. If they're winning, nobody's going to care about Josh Peterson being on the roster. Nobody. I love this move. I love it.
My dad's in the chat, and he said that he would hire me back if I sucked, that I could work in the mailroom.
There you go. That's what I said, right? Boom. We put you at tight end. So you're not going to make it at tight end.
I don't want to work in the mailroom.
But the mailroom is just like being So what happened is you came in and let's say
for what position? Like a corporate position, like a
corporate
CEO,
position.
No, like vice president of whatever.
Jeff Moss ain't putting you at vice president.
No, like a major position in the company. Let's just leave it like that.
Okay, boom. Yeah. So then now what he says is, all right, he's probably gonna call you Ashley. Yeah. He's not gonna say daughter. Right? Because you got to be professional. You say, all right, Ashley, we tried this and it's not working. Right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put you on this smaller team. You're going to oversee the operations, but the operations really is overseeing like the mailroom and the office space, right?
So I'm an office manager. I order supplies.
Boom. So that's like what Doug Peterson did. Doug Peterson said, hey, son, you can be the tight end. But then he couldn't do that. So his way of putting him as the office manager was saying, now you're going to be the long snapper, all right? He goes out there, snap the ball over the punter's head. Now everybody's pissed off. And now he says, I got to cut you, and I'll bring you back at practice squad, which your dad said, Mr. Jeff, who's in the chat, he said, I'll hire you as someone to work the mailroom.
I don't want to be in the mailroom. I want to be in the meetings, the corner office with the glass doors and all that. I don't want to be in the mailroom.
Ashley, you're right where you need to be. You're right where you need to be on TV. Your ass in corporate America.
I would be great in corporate America.
Hell no.
What?
Ask Mr. Jeff. Mr. Jeff. Is she right where she needs to be? Keep it 100 now.
I am smart. I'm savage.
Mr. Jeff.
I'm witty. I'm a hard worker. I'd be an assassin in corporate America.
He's a real one now. I'm waiting for the chat, Mr. Jeff.
I would be an assassin.
Well, I'm not saying you wouldn't be okay or good. What I'm saying to you is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you right where you need to be. Perfect space.
I'll take that.
Where's your dad at?
We'll see. He's here. We'll just see what his answer is. Maybe he's just typing slow. I don't know.
Mr. Jeff supposed to be an IT guy and he can't type fast. You don't know how to get in here.
We'll see if it comes in. While we wait on that answer, let me tee up this final story. I think you're gonna have some fun with this one.
Okay.
Because Richard Sherman, who is a new member of Undisputed, went on the show in a room full of wide receivers, and said that the corner position is harder than wide receiver. We actually have this video so we can hear exactly what he said. And Brandon, I can't wait to hear you react to this one. Let's go ahead and play it.
Richard Sherman.
Yeah, Richard Sherman. Do we have this video? We should. No? Yes? Maybe? Oh, we have it? Okay. Oh,
Jeff Moss. My daughter can do anything. Does not matter where she works.
Talk to me nice. He knows.
He capping. Mr. Jeff, you capping for the
Brandon,
people.
if you don't talk about your daughter like that, you ain't doing it right.
I keep it. Listen, I know what he's doing, though. You know,
I'm built to excel. You see that?
Is built to excel.
Okay. There's the answer that you wanted. Don't ever play yourself. Speaking of, we had that video of Richard Sherman. Go ahead and run this.
I'll say something to piss you off right now. What's that? What you got? The corner is a harder position.
See, now I gotta go, Mike. I gotta get it.
This ain't rehearsed.
I'm not doing that with you. I'm not doing this with you.
This is not rehearsed.
Wait for y'all to go. I swear it's not rehearsed.
No, hold on. This ain't rehearsed.
But I promise you I'm about to leave this shit.
Hold on.
Stop, dog.
Hold on.
Stop.
Skip, let me.
Yo,
Okay, so.
Well, first, Ashley, there's just way too much energy. 4 dudes. Keyshawn Johnson, throw me the damn ball. Michael Irvin, the playmaker. Richard Sherman, he was Jalen Ramsey before Jalen Ramsey. And then Skip. How the hell? That's too much energy.
Too much sauce. Listen, Darius Slay actually responded to Richard Sherman's statement, and he had this to say. Let's go ahead and throw that tweet up there. Corner is way harder than wide receiver. So, Brandon, as a wide receiver, do you agree or disagree with Richard Sherman's sentiments?
I appreciate this. Let me jump into this
Let's
debate.
get spicy. Let me get my drink ready because I know it's going to get good.
I'll be quick here.
You don't have to. We have 5 minutes.
This is simple. A cornerback is someone who failed at wide receiver. That's what a cornerback is. However, the receiver is the better athlete. The receiver is fast, is shifty, could be big, do all the stuff. The coaches can put you in different positions. So now the cornerback, who is probably not probably not a better athlete than a wide receiver, but they got to be reactive, which means the cornerback position is harder. I know where I'm going. My coaches put me in position. So it's 100% harder. Like I'm running 15 yards. They got to stop on that. Boom. They got to react on that. So if you're a wide receiver and you're fast and you're shifting, you can get in and out of your breaks. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you should always win. So I agree with Richard Sherman. Now there's different parts of this conversation because Richard start getting into, you guys, if it's a 60-play game, I'm on the field for 60 plays and wide receivers, y'all might take a break. And that's true. You'll see a wide receiver run 2 go routes in a row, and then you'll see him walk off the side and walk back. And what happens to Richard Sherman and the Darrelle Reeves of the world? Their asses stay out there. They stay out there. So I agree with Richard Sherman, but there are other parts to this conversation that we can dive into, but it'll probably take us down a rabbit hole. But always remember, folks, that a cornerback is a failed wide receiver. Now, what was interesting when you heard this, because they, I think Keyshawn brought this up, and he's like, no, I chose to go to corner. That's what Richard said, because he went to Stanford as a wide receiver, then switched to cornerback. He said, I chose to go to cornerback because I wanted to have my destiny, my life, my livelihood in my hands. I ain't want to wait on the quarterback. I ain't want to wait on the offensive lineman. I ain't want to wait on the offensive coordinator. That's what he said, right? And he might be right, because he, his generation, he had the most picks. Because most corners who failed at wide receiver, they just can't catch. Richard Sherman can catch, right? But the other ones, they have no argument. So, interesting debate.
I just want to go ahead and say that we are going to quote card the hell out of that a cornerback is a failed wide receiver. And I hope you don't duck any smoke on Twitter from your fellow peers.
Messy. You talking about
because
messy.
You said it. And when I say something on this show, for better, for worse, indifferent, I got attacked for my LeBron take about him not being a top 5 pure scorer. Just for 3 weeks
crazy.
later, Carmelo Anthony needs to say the same thing that I said.
He said that?
He gave his top list of top
said
pure scorer ballers, the same thing. And LeBron was nowhere on the list.
No, but that's different.
That's what we were talking about. We were talking about pure scorer.
Scorers and ballers is two different things.
A pure scorer is a baller. It means that you can get a bucket from anywhere on the court. Whatever. All right. All I'm saying is when I make a statement, I stand 10 toes down, regardless of whether it's right, wrong, and different. Today, it's Brandon Marshall's turn. So a cornerback is a failed wide receiver. Clip it, quote card it. It is going out today. Just listen.
For real, it is.
It's going out today.
You know what? I will say this, and I'm not trying to retract. I don't do that. I hate when people be tweeting, and then people start responding and jumping down there, jumping on them, and then they say, "Oh, they take the tweet down." You already said it. Nowadays, there are kids growing up to say, "I want to play cornerback." Like you have 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, trying to mimic, the Jalen Ramseys of the world, et cetera, et cetera. But, in Little League, what do you want? You got to think about this. Everybody want to play offense. Everybody want to be the quarterback. Everybody want to be the running back. Used to be back in the day in my era, the running back. Now everybody want to be what? Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, all those guys. They want to be receiver. Nobody grow up saying, I want to go over there and just hit you. Like, unless your body type is like that, and you have to have that type of mindset. So things are shifting now, but it's true. It's like we tried you over here at running back. That's how you won games back then, and you still win games. The NFL is what? It's what? A passing league. It's an offensive league.
Pass first league.
So we're going to try you over here. We need our best athletes on the offensive side, Keon. That's what we need. If you don't pan out, if you can't cut it, now we find a spot for you on defense. That's what happens.
Well, listen, y'all. We're going to end things from an audio.
Trayvon Diggs. Our guy. Trayvon Diggs. He went to Alabama as a wide receiver.
And
his ass, I got to stop.
We're not going to come for Trayvon. Not on this show.
But it's crazy because it's hard for me to say this about Trayvon because his ball skills are crazy. Like, he has the best ball skills in the NFL when it comes to the defensive side. Let's debate it. Who's better? Right? So it is tough. It's a tough one, but maybe Trayvon wasn't shifty enough. He was too stiff, or so he couldn't, you know what I'm saying, wiggle. He had no wiggle. You gotta have that You got bang bang. You got
I can't. I'm not gonna let you have that. I'm not gonna let you not to my dog, not to my squad. Listen, You guys have been listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM Faction Talk 103. And it's been a great show, a great hump day. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow with more topics. We have some breaking news that did just come in. We just don't have time to hit it. Some NBA stuff that's going to be fun. But that is going to go ahead and conclude the audio portion of the show, though. But we do have one more segment we're going to hit from a video standpoint. So we're going to continue on the live stream and talk some cut day, NFL, PA, and the trust that we have going on here, which is something really, really important, really, really cool. And we want to share that with all of you. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM Faction Talk 103. I'm Ashley Nicole Moss. That's Brandon Marshall. We got the whole crew, the Paper Route, Paper Chasers. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out the name. We will see you, or you'll hear us tomorrow.
There you go. You're such a pro.
Thanks.
Y'all see what Ashley had to do? She had to cut the audio because y'all can listen to us on Sirius XM, but keep the video going. That was really good.
Thanks.
You're such a pro.
But we're gonna say here in the visual world, Brandon, let's talk some cut day. It was I think that we focus so much on the names,
that's right,
and the storylines, but I don't think that we really dive into the emotional toll that this takes on a lot of these athletes. These guys have families.
That's right.
Their families are now, uprooted from cities that they once, were planning on calling home for an extended period of time. Now they have to figure out plan B. Some of these guys have pregnant wives, girlfriends. Some of these guys don't have a plan B. Some of these guys are waiting and hoping that they get another opportunity to make their dreams come true, to change their situation. Some of these guys are going to have to get real jobs. When I say real jobs, not saying athletes, not a real job, but work in the 9-to-5 world. So I think that we forget about those guys when focusing on the 53-man roster. We have a great tweet here from Jeremy Reeves, and it says, quote, "I remember how these next couple of days feel, waiting, afraid of getting a call. My best advice, you may get it once, you may get it 5 years straight like I did, or you may never get it. End of the day, no matter how much you're told no, nobody can stop what God has for you."
That's right.
Brandon, from an athlete standpoint, I just want you to kind of, we spoke about this yesterday. We were laughing about the black garbage bag, but obviously there's a lot of emotion behind that. It may be, something that you can joke about down the road, but in the moment, it's extremely just disheartening and unfortunate. It's, for some guys, traumatic. It sends them down a spiral, whether depression, anxiety, just not knowing what their next move is. So just kind of walk us through that and how to combat that.
And listen, that's exactly why we're having this conversation. Like you saw this last tweet from Jeremy, and there's so many other active athletes or active ballers or retired guys that's jumping out there and tweeting. Why? Because they've been through it. They understand it. In the off season, you have 90 guys that you're doing life with. You're spending more time, in off season with your teammates than you are with your family. And so it's hard to see people leave, right? Raheem Mostert. Mentally today is a tough day for a lot of players. I pray and hope everyone finds a new opportunity if the old ones close their doors. All you need is one person to believe. Can we go back to the last one too? Lane is he's a dog. Like, he gets it, right? Young athlete. Sometimes it takes a long time to be noticed, but all of the hard work that is done in silence and away is always revealed in the light. Keep pushing. And I think there may be one more or two more, but you got DK Metcalf.
No. This is Devin Kennard.
Oh, this is
He
Devin
says
Kennard.
most NFL fans are excited today because preseason is done and next week is the real deal. As a player, there's a dark cloud over the NFL today. Many guys will get cut and never touch the field again. Many others will switch teams and be given just hours to pack their things, say goodbye, and start a new journey in a foreign city. Congratulations to every man who makes the 53, and prayers out to all that don't. I think before you dive into it, I think something that sticks out to me in this is, if we can go back to DK's tweet for a second. I think that we always try to focus on the positive, right? You know, the hard work will reward itself. You know, that's something that Deion Sanders notoriously preaches to his guys and in his speakings when he does, you know, public speaking events, is that, you know, keep working, keep going, keep chipping away. Eventually it will reward itself.
That's right.
But the reality of the situation is that that's not always the case.
That's right.
Some guys at this past training camp, this past experience was the only time they'll ever be in an NFL facility, and it will just become eventually a story that they tell their kids one day that, you know, I was, you know, at training camp with the New Orleans Saints, and that we try to speak in terms of optimism, which is great, but on the other side of that is the very real reality that this is the end of the line for so many guys, and that's a very hard reality to come to when you've spent your entire life working for something and it may or may not come back to you.
And Ashley, the tough spot is not knowing. Some of them don't know. So being in that gray, do you understand the anxiety of sitting there every single day, all day, waiting for your phone to ring? Oh, what's that? That's 310? That's the LA? Is that the Rams? Could that be the Chargers? Right? 718? Oh, is that the Giants? Is that the Jets? So like living in that space is where a lot of guys struggle. And that's why you see, you know, so many of our guys stand up and tweet this out, right? Because, you know, like they said, like everybody's celebrating. I'm celebrating. I don't give a damn about preseason. I don't want to talk about preseason. We're here now. But like Pugh said, another one of my ex-teammates, 1,500 men, you know, cut, right? And now what do they do? What do you do? And so, you know, it's interesting because, I think about my experience. Played 13 years. For 11 and a half years, never thought about this. I came in a facility every single day, head up high, knowing that I'm paid. Hell, we might be talking about getting more money. The Grim Reaper is the person who comes from the second level and may come down and say, hey, you need to bring your playbook, meet coach because you about to be cut. And then now you come back downstairs, you got the black trash bag waiting for you to clean out your locker. And once you do that, 20 minutes later, there's going to be more stuff in there with a new name on that nameplate. Literally that fast. Like literally that fast. They cut me today. They cut me right now. All right? I walk out the door with my black garbage bag. In 30 minutes, someone else is sitting there with my name, with their name on that locker. It might have the same jersey. So if it's a receiver to get cut and they bring another receiver, they might take 15. And now you see how fast this work? It's traumatizing. But think about this. What about the guys that made it? Okay? And they're witnessing this. Now what are they thinking about? They're living, I don't want that experience. I don't want that experience. And so for 11 and a half years, never experienced that. And then my last cup of teas with the Giants, with the Seattle Seahawks, with the Saints. Cut. Like, damn, this is how it feels. So I was on both ends of the spectrum. One of the top dogs in the league and on my team, and at the bottom of the barrel. And so one of the things that stood out to me and one of the things I realized was in that moment is when you really needed to be strong and you got to figure out, you know, how to pick yourself up and keep going, whether it's going to the next thing or you got to keep training, right? But you can't sit there and just not work out, not train, not eat the right things. And so that's why this is important. This is a tough time for everyone that was cut, but you got to keep working. You brought up the NFL trust.
Well, before you dive into that, Brandon, I want to read something that Justin Pugh put out on his tweet because this aligns directly with the message of the trust, HOA, and what's going on here. So can you put that tweet back up? He basically said that of the men who did not make a roster, you have two options. You can have a pity party and tell everybody how you got screwed by the NFL and the NFL sucks. But it's the second part of this tweet that I think speaks directly to what HOA is doing to combat that. And it says the second option is this: pick yourself up and get to work. You can still train in case you get a call, but odds are it isn't coming. This is your wake-up call. You have, quote, NFL player appeal for the next few months. Leverage it. Start cold emailing friends, family, teammates, CEOs, alumni, and ask to come in and shadow them. Start learning what career could be next. This will be your purpose on top of training. Let's work physically and mentally. Reach out if you're stuck and don't know where to start. And I think that's a great segue into what the Trust, NFLPA, what HOA is doing and helping with that.
Yep, 100%. And I appreciate that. The first thing that I would say is sign up and make sure you're registered as a member of the NFL Trust. There's so many benefits there. You know, one of the things that they do that's really cool is those 1,500 men, they can now go to, you know, there's only a few partners there, but you have like Exos in LA, and then you have us in Tampa, you have us here in South Florida, where they can come and train for free. Think about it. Some of these dudes that they were just in college, and let's not say like they got all this nil money, right? Like most of these dudes are broke. They don't have no money. So how do you then go out there and pay $1,500 a week for training or a place to stay and eat? They have nothing. They just left a 4-year program in college. Now they got cut, and now they got to find a way to continue to train at an elite level. That is expensive. We charge anywhere from $500 to $2,500 a week here when some of these athletes come. That's what it is. And I would say that's probably a discount. It's probably cheap. So the NFLPA, the NFL Trust, you know, that's part of your benefit. So check in with them and come train. I would love to have y'all down here. Come down to Tampa. We got one here in South Florida. Whatever you want, it's going to be on us.
Can we throw that graphic up there again without the lower third, because I think it cuts off the number and the information on the bottom. So if we can throw that graphic up there one more time, just without the lower third. There you go. So that's all the information. That is the website to get more information, or the phone number below if you prefer to speak to somebody directly. And I mean, Brandon, before we close it out, what was the importance for you, or why was it so important for you rather to get involved with, you know, a program like this?
Yeah.
Because people will say, listen, all of your career, the majority of it, outside of the last few cups of teas, as you like to refer to them as, all you've known is being a starter. All you've known is being, you know, a big name and getting the big check. So what could you possibly know, you know, about somebody who doesn't have that same experience?
Yeah. Well, I would say I didn't even know this was a real opportunity for us at House of Athlete, but it fit when Kelly, who runs the trust, and my ex-teammate Lusaka reached out and said, look, like, you got an amazing facility, and here's some of the programs that we run, and our guys paid for this. We paid for this. This is a part of our benefits, right? But guys don't even know it exists. We don't use it. We got retirement programs where guys can come get medical and train and do all those things. So it fits for me because, like, essentially everything I'm doing in the athlete space is trying to create a safe place for athletes, because people take advantage of athletes. That's why I go so hard at the owners. You know, and some people might look at me like, damn, this nigga sound like 50 Cent, he crazy. But it's because, like, man, they don't care. Think about that. I saw somebody in the chat say, damn, they make all this money off of y'all, and then when they cut y'all, they give you a black trash bag. So, like, that's what Saquon and Jonathan Taylor and all those guys and Lamar Jackson need to be thinking about when they sit at the table, not giving them a team-friendly discount, not you know, saying, oh, you know, I want to be loyal and I don't want to piss off the fans. No, you need to be thinking about your mama. You need to be thinking about your kids or your future kids. Or if you ain't even got a wife, you got to be thinking about your future wife. Because when it's all said and done, they're not going to be there. So, Ashley, you know, hopefully our guys tap into their benefits. We're here, and they won't be here for long, right? So hopefully they come in and they get the call in a week or two, and they're back on the field doing what they do.
Absolutely, sending positivity and just well wishes to everybody kind of going through the motions from cut day. And, you know, the information will be all over our social media and anywhere we can go ahead and post that. You know, screenshot this. If you guys are watching on, you know, your mobile device, send this to some athletes you may know. Or if you yourself are just interested, go ahead and keep it for yourself, post it on your social, things like that. Before we close out the show, Brandon, a fan in the chat wants to know if you are going to be in the Mile High City, a place you called home for so many years, when the Broncos and the Jets faced off in Week 5.
Yep. Yup.
Who are you rooting for?
You know who I'm rooting for.
I don't know. It's Aaron Rodgers,
who I'm
who is
rooting
like
for.
your man crush because you're a Jets guy, or is it your BFF, Russell Wilson? Who do you go for?
So I'm rooting for Russell on a personal level, but I'm rooting for the Jets, and it's crazy because the Denver Broncos drafted me.
I know. How does this work?
I retired, or I wouldn't even say I retired. I got cut a Jet in my mind.
Okay.
That's my love. It's my passion.
So we're rooting for the Jets to win, but you're rooting for Russell Wilson to have a good game?
Great game.
Does the game matter if he loses?
He's going to be the only quarterback that throws for 300 yards on our defense.
Okay. Well,
3
listen,
touchdowns.
the Jets-Broncos game is going to be the equivalent of like when you're in a love triangle and then those guys or girls both come face to face, and now you're like, oh, this is awkward.
I'm going to be sitting in Russell Wilson's box, though, with Sierra,
I am very excited to see how this plays out. This is like being on a date with like girl number 2. And then girl number 1 walks in and she's like, this is weird. Like, I didn't. Oh, okay. So this is going to be fun.
Can you imagine, though, me flying out to Denver, sitting in his suite with his family. Sierra's there. Baby. You know, she's going to be bouncing around. She always dancing.
Okay.
Right? But every time the Jets make a play, I stand up. I'm the only one.
Yeah, you can't do that in the box.
You think she going to kick me out?
Yeah, I would.
You would?
I would so kick you out. I'd be like, if you in this box, you were for the orange.
Right.
So I would keep your excitement internally, you know? Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in the stands with the rest of the fans. But that has done it for this Wednesday edition of Paper Out. We will be back tomorrow, same time. You never know who's
Cornerbacks
going to
are failed wide receivers.
Oh, clip it. Clip it. Quote card it. We need it. We will be back tomorrow. You never know who's going to pop up, and you never know what Brandon's going to say, so you don't want to miss the show. And I hope that we have some pushback to Brandon's quarterbacks fail wide receivers comment, because that would be fun to dive into on the show. Until then, guys, we are out. We will see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh.